Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to some more Warpforge. Thank you so much for all of the support that I've been getting on the recent videos, and I definitely plan on bringing y'all a bunch. I was away, so I figured we would just dive in today and cover all of the new cards that have just come out. I knew that they were going to release probably some new stuff when we got into early access, and they definitely did. There's a whole list of new cards for each faction. If you did not catch it, feel free to go to the main Warpforge website, and you can find it in the news tab or in the official Discord, probably under news or announcements. You'll be able to find the whole post. So I actually have it on my second screen here. So we're definitely going to go through the new cards for each faction. I feel like since I released my whole sort of like crafting wildcard guide, things have changed. Rarities have changed for certain cards. And I thought we could go through that together just so everyone kind of has a good bit of information of how to navigate, whether as a free-to-play player or, a player who's investing some amount of money into the game. I think you always want to feel like you're making a sound decision when you are getting certain cards and being able to evaluate them. And as someone who just booted up their early access account because I was so used to all the stuff I had for the closed beta and the closed alpha. Sad to see my collection go, but honestly super pumped to get into starting out with everything. So why don't we dive in? We'll just go faction by faction. I'll obviously have those time codes in the description. And please like and subscribe if you like what you're seeing here, and I'll keep bringing you guys some awesome Warhammer 40k. And yes, a little bit biased towards Ultramarine content, so you'll be seeing plenty from me. So, just for ease of my eyes, I'm just typing in each card individually so we can really look at it. So, Sternguard Sergeant definitely catches my attention. So, 3/3/3/3 all around. Codex deals 2 damage to a random enemy. I think 2 damage is definitely nothing to sneeze at. That is, a good amount of damage to take out, or allow your warlord to take out some of the more peskier cards and trying to clear the board for yourself. So Sternguard Sergeant seems like a nice little kind of like cheaper, sort of just like all around good stats for that. I don't think this is such an exciting card, right? But if you're able to trigger Codex multiple times, and we talked about how to do that in the last video with one of the epics, I'll just go back real quick so everyone can see it. Tactical Insight. Right, this allows you to hit 0, do it again, use your 2 energy, hit 0 again. So you could potentially shoot something for 4 with our new, what is it, Sergeant? Yeah. Let's see if I can actually spell Sergeant. With our new Sternguard Sergeant, this card seems solid. I don't have a ton of notes about this. I think that it's not like maybe an essential craft when it comes to thinking about being able to build an Ultramarines deck that has enough staying power to close out the game. I think you have other 3-drops that you can be playing that, wouldn't make it so essential to be crafting this, right? If we go to 3, we're looking at Armored Support, which is one of the better cards to get into the late game with. Company Bike I've just generally enjoyed as a 2-for-1. Battlefield Supremacy we will talk about. And then we've also got Intercessor Sergeant we'll be talking about too. But Primaris Interceptor is probably one of the better 3-drops at rare, and it's something you can definitely run. So Sternguard Sergeant, I think, a welcome addition. We've also got this updated version. The Tyrannic War Veteran gets +1 for each unit. So, it's possible that Tyrannic War Veteran could be a little bit bigger than the Sergeant, but the Sergeant has very, very good text. So I think that Sergeant is a good one to have. And then so I think in terms of using your wild cards, like I said, not super essential, but definitely something you're going to want in your deck, probably down the line, just because it's a pretty solid card. Intercessor Sergeant. It's kind of nice to see common cards like this, and I say that as someone who really felt like a lot of the common cards throughout all of the factions were just kind of meh. Obviously, they're not going to have a ton of keywords on them. Like, they're supposed to be common. They're not supposed to be flashy. But I do like that they threw in some comments here and there from what I saw, and obviously we'll go through them all, just because it adds a little bit more oomph to your deck as a starting off, as a starting player. So Intercessor Sergeant, although it's a 3 energy and you probably play other 3 energy troops, right? 3 health for 3 energy, fine. But you've got like a nice little boost in the ranged attack area. So, if there's a way for you to blind your opponents, this thing can actually do some good amount of damage. And, yes, they're going to be able to trade maybe 2 melee attacks into this. But this seems fine. This seems like a fine common card to start out with. Like on rate, this seems totally fine. So let's look at the next one. Invader, is that right? Invade. Let's see. Oh, because I'm looking at 3. Oh boy. All right, Primaris Invader. Love this sweet like vehicle art. That's very cool. 4 energy, 5 health, so good. You're getting a little bit more health than energy you're spending. 5 range attack, 3. So this is a 4-drop. I'm not going to be excited about, right? It is a common card, but it's fine. Like it's sufficient enough for what you're getting. Obviously, there are plenty of 4-drops that you're probably going to play over Invader. Not counting Antara Kronos, Death from Above, Hellblaster. They adjusted, which is interesting. I think this used to be a 3-drop. Primaris Chaplain, obviously being pretty good. Sergeant Electus and Stormraven. Primaris Invader, nothing super impressive, but again, a fine common just to be starting out with. Okay, so let's see. Desolation Marine. So 6 energy, 6 health, 3/5. So and blast 3. So we're actually seeing an interesting kind of trend of these like sort of same amount of health that you're paying for energy, and like pretty well statted. So obviously, if this thing connects range, that's going to be good. But I'd be remiss to recommend it, without thinking about what else can come down on 6. Company Ancient got moved from a rare to an epic, and has just all around pretty solid stats and a pretty great bonus now. So this is a card that is going to be good in most Ultramarine decks. And then you've got stuff like Desolation Marine, but then you've got Intercessor Sergeant, which would just come down and kill it and stick around. So Desolation Marine, though, stat-wise, is going to do work if it stays on the battlefield, right? You're going to pop something for 5, and then it's going to blast out for 3. So definitely not a terrible common card to be running if you need to. Let's see. Storm Talon. Kind of the same thing here, right? 7 health, 7 energy, huge ranged attack, very, very bad melee attack, but it's flying. So it's really only going to be tussling for range for the most part. Again, not an impressive top end when you consider what other 7-drops there are, right? At least for this slot, you've got Devastator Centurion, which I probably wouldn't be running. I'd probably be running the 8-drop that has Vanguard, because that thing is pretty hefty. That's the Assault Centurion. Vanguard is also just such a great keyword, especially for the late game. And then, obviously, Librarian in a vacuum would be much, much better than Storm Talon, but is a legendary, and not one that I would recommend crafting. So, and I just think, like I've said in my previous video, if you're going over 7 energy, you really got to be getting a big bang for your buck. Now, let's look at one of our newer legendaries, Humanity's Shield. 2 energy, your Warlord becomes invulnerable until your next turn. I mean, in terms of its cost, 2 energy for invulnerable is fine, right? It's just for your Warlord. If you think about the one in Tyranids, that's 5, and you can potentially synapse it. You're able to, but you are able to stick it on a unit. Humanity's Shields, again, I would not be like rushing to make this. I don't really think this is a great card. Trying to figure out why. I mean, maybe for Uriel, if you're really, really going super aggressive, I guess Humanity's Shields could be decent. But I'm hesitant to recommend that sort of card. All right, chapters due. Chapters do. Choose a friendly infantry that died this game and return it to your deck. Draw a card. Okay, so you're paying 2 energy to draw a card, and I will say it's nice to have something that's not 3 energy. That is a card advantage stratagem for Space Marines, because unless you're playing with, Marnius or Varro, with Uriel, you don't have a ton of card advantage. This seems like more efficient, so, you're essentially getting one of those troops added to your deck and then drawing a card immediately. Again, nothing super crazy about this card, but 2 energy to draw a card and potentially get a little bit of card advantage with that troop going back in your deck seems okay, Okay, chapters do supremacy. Now, this is a legendary that I think a lot of people are going to be looking at. So, lower the cost of all vehicles in your hand and deck by 1, draw a vehicle from your deck. This card is what allows you to actually play some of those higher end vehicles, not just through armored support, but you can actually stick them in your deck because you're going to discount them by 1 in your hand and in your deck, and you're going to draw a vehicle. So this is armored support is an excellent card all around, but Battlefield Supremacy is going to make it so those Marnius decks in particular that are going late with vehicles, this just, again, is sort of buffing your ability to be efficient and play these like incredibly impactful vehicle cards. So I think Battlefield Supremacy is one that, we're probably all going to want to be able to make at some point. Council, choose a troop from your deck and draw it. Heal 6 to your Warlord. Not super pleased by this one. Healing 6 is like not insignificant. And then you're choosing a troop from your deck and drawing it. Can help you a little bit in the later stages of the game. It's kind of like a 2-for-1, right? Because you're healing, you're impacting the board, and you're getting something that you're drawing. Not super excited for Chapter Council, but certainly like a passable early card if you're going to play it. And then I think probably one of the more excited cards, Angels of Death. This was a card I actually asked the Discord, what is this? Because I haven't even seen it yet, because I saw it popping up in every Ultramarine list, and there's no surprise why. Angels of Death, deploy 4 Primaris Intercessors, which are the 2/2s with 3 health, that have flank. Most factions have some card that generates a bunch of troops for some sort of cost. So Ultramarines were kind of one of the few that didn't. And Angels of Death is one that suits a little bit more of the kind of aggro mid-range strategy. But also I think you just stick it in control too, because again, it's going to be able to help you clear, 8 health worth of units by itself. I don't think you can go wrong with Angels of Death. I think this probably should be in your deck, however you can make it. So definitely don't wait on that. I think this is a card that's just pretty impactful no matter what Ultramarines deck you're playing. Flank is just an incredibly important keyword. Speaking of which, I will be making a keyword video as soon as I can. Yeah, I think Angels of Death is going to be a card that we're going to get very used to seeing, quite a lot. And yes, there are updates. So we've got Primaris Reaver changing in rarity. We've got a couple other cards changing in rarity. And then I would say any of the cards, and I wish I could go through it, but this video would be way too long. Any cards that change not just in rarity, which is more going to affect how the collections work, and how you progress through the game. But I think anything that increased or decreased in cost, that's worth a look, right? So when I believe it's the Apothecary increased to 5 and was 4, right? So they just buffed it all around, right? It used to have 4 health, 4 attack, 4 range. So it's going to come down later, but it's still having a decent impact on the board as a common card, right? Because it's got a good codex and just good body all around. But you want to think about, and Primaris Judiciary, I love that this got turned to a rare, because I always wanted more of this card. You just want to think about how the increase or decrease in cost really, impacts the deck's functionality. So I would just that's my little tidbit of advice when you're evaluating these cards from when you were maybe in closed alpha or closed beta, and now we're in early access and things have been updated, and it really was a huge update for a lot of these cards. You want to kind of take into account what that's going to look like. But before I get lost in thought, let's go on to the Orks and see what is going on for the Ork boys. And honestly, I'm super excited because I really felt like Orks could use some love. Ork boy. Right off the top. 2 energy, 3 health, 3 and 1. Okay, I mean, fine for the Green Horde decks, right? You could stick some of these in. The 3 health is nice. Obviously, it's more susceptible to range, and Ork boy can be cleared pretty easily. But, you know, a decent addition to the decks that are just going to try and go wide and buff things. Defcopta. New rare for the Orks. 4 energy, 5 health, 2/4, unstable, flying, tied 2. I will say I like this. And this is a vehicle where when you've got the defense card that lowers the cost of your vehicle by 2, this is a great target for that. Because it might mean that you can play this on, I guess it would be turn 6. So you could play this for 4, or like reduces cost, play for 4. Oh no, and then it would make a copy of itself. Yeah, so you could do it on 4. Reduce it to 2, then play tied 2, or you could do it on turn 6 and get 3 Coptas. Unstable is always a pretty bad drawback, because it really can put you behind. But these are reasonable stats, and the tied 2 definitely makes this more attractive. So I think Defcopta is probably a pretty solid addition to what it seems like is going to be more of a vehicle strategy and identity within the Orks. Ork Knob, new legendary. All right, let's take a look. And I'm really coming in here fresh, so just giving you my kind of 2 cents here. Friendly troops have flank. 4, 4, 5. Okay, well, here's the deal. We already know that the Necron card that gives other troops flank is just great. We already know flank is great. So Ork Knob, don't think you can go wrong. This should probably be in your Ork decks. This is definitely a legendary that I'm a little bit more interested in making, just in comparison to the other legendaries. Go back for a second. Makari's good. Obviously, Gazcol is a good craft if that's what you're looking for. Pyromaniacs we haven't actually looked at. Ardshell Grog. Yeah, I mean, Ork Knob seems like a kind of generally good card in Orks, and probably would be a good card to make in the beginning of your Ork campaign. So, can't really... Oh my god, these names are so good. Snazwagon. Oh, I love it. Boomdaka Snazwagon. 5 energy, 4 health. Tied 1, flank 4, 5. Well, although it's a little lower in health in terms of the energy you're paying for, which is kind of generally what I like to pay attention to, you are getting a flank vehicle that can come in and just smack something. And it also is tied. But I would say tied on 5 energy, not terribly impressive, right? Again, because you're only going to be able to take advantage of the tide when you have 10 energy. However, again, if you've got the counterattack card or the defense card that reduces the vehicle by 2, then you might be able to actually get Live the Dream, where you get 2 of these down at a reasonable pace, right? Instead of turn 10, then it would come. You could do a turn 8. So I think Snazwagon, sort of trying to flesh out this vehicle theme, but nothing that impressive, I would say. Big Shooter Boy. 6 energy, 6 health, 2/6. Just a big ranged unit. Nothing to really be excited about there. But, again, in terms of stats, probably fine when you're starting out. Tank Buster. Okay, 6 health, 6 energy, Blast 2, 4/4. Okay. Yeah, okay for a 6 drop, I mean, the blast definitely helps you if you're able to connect. It's got good amount of health, so it shouldn't die. Again, you have to think about the fact that this doesn't have Vanguard, that you're getting into later stages of the game isn't enough to keep up. But definitely a reasonable card. Squig Buggy. Oh. Ooh, this is a new rare. Okay. Rucka Truck Squig Buggy. Unstable, of course. Definitely want to pay attention to that. Strike, deploy a bomb squig. Oh, right. This card. Yeah. Backlash deal 2/3 damage to all enemies. And, okay, so it's going to come down. 6 energy for 6 health. Pretty big ranged attack stat. Strike, trigger an effect after attacking if this unit survives the attack. Yeah, I mean, it's got 6 health, and it's got some, decent stats to choose from in the attack department, and then you're going to generate a bomb squig, which the backlash is going to be pretty decent, although it isn't stable, so it affects you too. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely giving orcs more reason to be playing vehicles. So I like this angle. I think that's interesting. It's definitely different than the Green Horde. This might just go in one of the more, let's say maybe even the aggressive decks. This feels like a little bit more aggressively bent. So that's a cool and sort of welcome addition, I think, to the vehicles. Okay, we got another new rare. Commando. Stealth Strike. Gain Stealth. 7 energy, 7 attack, 6 health. Well, as far as 7 drops go, I mean, I do think you're getting quite a lot. Like Stealth, the fact that they can't interact with it, right? It's got 6 health, so it's not likely to die unless you got really unlucky from like a Helldrake strike. The fact that it's got Stealth means you can kind of play it when you want to, set it up, hit for a huge amount, and then get Stealth back again if it survives. And maybe get 2 bites at the apple. 7 energy is a lot. There's probably better things you can be doing. But this baseline seems like a pretty decent value for a card up front for what you're getting. So Commando is pretty interesting. All right, what's going on with the gun wagon? Unstable, concussive, when this unit attacks, the target can't attack on its next turn. Yeah, I probably just wouldn't play this card. 8 energy for 7 health and like whatever stats. Drawback with unstable. Yeah, okay, you've got concussive, but yeah, I don't think gun wagon's really cutting it for the vehicle deck. And then we've got that last legendary Pyro Maniacs. Give blast 2 to your units this turn for 3 energy. Huh. I mean, I could see a world in which this is decent. Like, you go to Green Horde one of your turns, and then you follow it up with a Pyromaniacs, and just kind of go to town. I don't know that putting Blast 2 on all your units is, like, that good. Obviously, it helps you clear the board more than anything, and you can get some, like, extra blast damage on to a Warlord, so it does play pretty nicely into Vanguard, depending on the positioning. Yeah, I could sort of give or take on this. It's hard to say if this is like really a legendary that you're going to be excited to craft. My inclination is to say no. So that's all we got for the orcs. Yeah, there's seems like there's a lot of changes. I wish I could go through kind of all of it, but I would just pay attention again to just the cost and how that's really affecting the card. Oh, there's only one new card for Necrons, huh? That's interesting. And then they updated a bunch. So, Royal Warden. Okay, so Royal Warden, new rare, 2/6, 6 health, deal 3 damage to an enemy. Oh, they already kind of have stuff like this. So that's interesting. Fine. I mean, you're getting the rally up front, 3 damage to an enemy, and then a pretty big health pool, and obviously a pretty big ranged attack. So Royal Warden seems like a fine card to be having. And then there's a lot of updates. Deathmark, change rarity, a lot of change rarity. Okay, so it's interesting. Like, part of me is like, okay, so they added kind of a bunch of new cards to Ultramarines, a bunch to Goth, Orks, 1 to the Necrons, and then updated a bunch of rarities. So it almost makes you think that they feel like Necrons kind of have the amount of tools that they need. Sort of points to maybe them being a little bit more powerful. All right, well, let's just move on to Black Legion here. Sorry, Necron lovers. There's not really too much new to report on. Whoops. Okay, Dark Disciple. Let's check you out. Oh, we got some of the little, like, culty guys. Cool. I was wondering if we were going to see these. 1 energy, 2/2/2. I mean, not bad in terms of combining with Dark Packs. Like, this is a cheap unit that you can play, that you can get Dark Packs with. It's also an infantry unit. I'm sure we'll see some synergies at some point. Yeah. Say this a lot, right? Not too exciting. but certainly fine with pairing with some dark packs. Like, you can definitely get a decent bit of value off that. Havoc. Ooh, love this art with the chain gun. That's super cool. 5 energy, 5 health, 3/6. Yeah, starting out, I like that they have these commons that are like, you know, not super powerful, but you're getting decent bang for your buck here. Again, not going to be essential in like what I would call like a good chaos list, but certainly fine to start out with. And then Murderous Desires. I was hoping this was like a cool card. Okay, so this is new epic. Murderous Desires. Make a damaged friendly unit attack by itself. Make a damage. Huh. Okay. So does this work in terms of like you attack with a unit, it takes some damage from the Warlord, and then you get to attack again? Is that what Murderous Desire? Obviously we see Abaddon in here. Or maybe this is one of those weird Terminators, but I think that's Abaddon. Make a damaged friendly unit attack by itself. Why would you want it to attack? I guess if I'm reading this card right, then it's saying that you get a second attack, essentially. But your unit has to be damaged. Okay. I don't think I'm terribly impressed with this card. I could be missing what this is sort of doing. But yeah, I wouldn't say Murderous Desires is something that I'd be itching to play. And then it looks like a bunch of card changes. A lot of cost changes for sure. Noise Marine, rare to epic. Chaos Terminator 5/6. Child of Torment 5/6. Obliterator 6/7. Okay, Dark Oratory, Schemes of Fate. Yeah, so some of these cost changes will be interesting just to see how the curve breakpoints look for different decks. So that's interesting. All right, let's move right along to the old Eldari. All right. Weapons platform. Okay, just a common 0332. Okay. I do love these. These are like the little like sort of like turret things. Okay, well, not a terribly impressive common. Dire Avenger. Oh, and then there's Dire Avenger. Alright, well, let's look at both. 6 health, 6 energy, 6/2, so big attack up front. Waystone, yeah, seems like a fine, like a decent common card to be playing. Dire Avenger, 4 energy, 4 health, 1/4, Waystone. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty unimpressive compared to the other 4 drops in Samhan. But, you know, again, it's good that they're making, I like that they added commons to the game that can maybe give you a little bit of a bump when you play your budget and sort of like newer decks. So I'm glad they put those in. And then Devoted of Cain. Let's check you out. 3 energy. Give +1 melee attack to your troops. Repeat this effect. I mean, it's easy enough to get another Waystone. So this pretty much reads 3 energy. Give +2 melee attack to all your troops. I mean, Eldar can go wide. I mean, I could see this be maybe a 1-of paired with the legendary 7-drop that expends all of your... Oh, but it expends all of your Waystones, so you wouldn't get the bonus. You would just give all of the Wraith cards +1/+1 from Host of the Dead. Yeah, probably not a card to be heavily considering. Definitely a lot of changes within Eldar, it looks like, for cost increases. Howling Banshee... change from epic to rare, so that's kind of nice because that card is excellent. And having rares, I think I wish I had gotten a little bit more time to do this, but I wanted to get this out to you guys. I think if they're changing some of the more sought after cards from epics to rares, good, right? Because I think rares are a lot more accessible to new players, if I'm not mistaken, from how the campaign works. I'll be bringing more insight into that as I play more after I got back from vacation. Alright, let's get to, last but not least, the Tyranids. Let's see what additions they got. Node Beast. Oops. Take away the filter. Node Beast. Ooh, nice. I got a new epic. Okay. Dragon Node Beast, Leviathan, Synapse, Swarm Tide. Okay, so Synapse, always scary, especially with the Neurothrope deck. Swarm. Okay, so you're paying 2 energy. You're going to get 1 Tide 1. Wow, I love this card. Jeez. Okay, so you can get the Synapse buffs. So what's really important is that there aren't a lot of super cheap enablers for Synapse, like as in units that actually have Synapse below 4 or 5. There's a 3-drop, and then I think there's just this guy, and then next highest is like on 4 or 5. So this is great. You could just maybe slap this down on turn 3. You won't get the Tide, but then you can use your Neurothrope ability to pump it in something else. Or you just hold down on 4, you play this, you swarm it. It can be a 4/2 with 6 health on 4, and then it's got Synapse. This, okay, Node Beast seems excellent. This card seems very, very efficient early, and like totally fine late, and like a good Synapse enabler. And Synapse is just a really, really scary ability when it gets going. Stranded Termagant. Okay, they made a different one. 2 energy, 3 health, 1/2 instead of the regular Termagant. Okay, so right. Okay, I was like, wait, why did they make a strictly better one? This one does have Swarm and Tide, so that's a big, big difference. Okay, so you probably wouldn't be running the Stranded Termagant much. Ravener. Ooh. Okay, we got a new legendary there. I'm excited to look at Ravener. 4 energy, 4 health, 4/2. Okay, just like sort of a solid, like common infantry unit. That's totally fine. Then Bounding Leap. New rare. Okay, give Blast 2 to a friendly unit this turn. Okay, so with Synapse, you're going to get a bit of a bang for your buck with Blast 2 to a friendly unit. Yeah, I kind of like. I would probably run at least one of these in my Synapse decks. That seems totally fine. Ravenous Hunter. It's just High Fleet Leviathan. Give Bloodthirst and +1 melee. That's a new keyword. Okay. Give Bloodthirst and +1 melee attack to all friendly units for this turn. Bloodthirst can attack twice per turn. Dang. Okay. Well, I think Ravenous Hunter is going to be a card that a lot of Tyranid decks will be happy to have. Whether you're going wide or you're going tall, being able to attack twice, and you're getting +1 melee attack, although this is 4 energy, this seems pretty scary. Wow. Okay. That's cool to see a new keyword. I didn't know if we would see that for quite a bit. So, interesting. Very interesting. Well, I think that's a pretty strong addition to the Tyranids. And it looks like, again, yep, we've got plenty of changes in rarity for quite a few things. Tyrant Guard went from 4 to 5. Okay, so they're toning down, I think, some of the crazy like 4-drop turns with Tyranids, which I think is probably one of the best, if not the best, counterattack card that you can use for them. Okay, Hive Crone changed, Hive Guard. Yep, up the cost for some things. Hive Tyrant increases 7 health to 8. Okay, change rarity from epic to legendary. Okay, so he's going to be a little hard to get. Ephemeral, Circle of Prey, change rarity from common to rare. Rare to interesting. It seems like they added more epics and legendaries. Is that correct? It's a little unfortunate for them. Yeah, this Node Beast, I'm super excited about for them. Yeah, it looks like they did add quite a few. Yeah, Moloch used to be a rare. Now it's an epic. Stealth Blast 3, return this card to your deck. I was never super impressed by Moloch, but I guess it is relatively strong. So I guess they're gaining it a little bit. And then Hive Tyrant is pretty strong, although it's a late game card that it's questionable how much impact it has. But interesting, they made that legendary, which kind of, in terms of flavor, kind of makes a bit more sense. Huh. All right, well, that's it in terms of new cards and changes. Definitely going to have to get in and just kind of play with it a little bit more to give you guys a bit more of my feedback on how everything is looking. But I hope everyone is enjoying the early access. I've been trying to follow the community Discord. I've just been following all your comments. and questions and things like that. And there's still plenty that I am learning about this game. So thanks for bearing with me as I've tried to add corrections to some of the videos and give some updates. Always feel free to comment and ask questions. That is how you learn. That's how I learn. But I hope it was helpful just to get a video up, just taking a look at some of these newer cards and what their impact may be. I would say there's quite a few on this updated list, and feel free to go to Warpforge 40k.com just to check out all of that, because they do a great job of just putting everything in the article. It really feels like they've added some heavy hitters and some kind of like interesting niche stuff, and then I think some really essential and helpful commons that are going to make, you know, your sort of starter and budget decks have a little bit more oomph, or a little bit more options than just kind of the baseline cards that we had from the closed alpha. So that's what I got for you today, folks. Thanks so much for stopping by, and you'll be seeing a lot more Warforged content from me as soon as possible, and I will catch you then. Thanks so much.